The end of my dream.
Go to an island, beat up some goons, fight the boss, and celebrate with a feast. That's the criticism, right? One Piece is just the same arc over and over. And look, if that's all you saw, I'm not even mad. Technically, that's the format. But calling One Piece repetitive is like calling chess boring because all the pieces move the same way every game. What matters isn't the structure, is what the structure reveals. Because One Piece didn't get to 1,000 chapters just by repeating itself. It evolved, it escalated, it transformed. The story began with a young boy punching a sea monster. That boy now is a pirate emperor, a living legend, physical embodiment of a forgotten god. So if you think the story never changes, you're just not paying attention. Yes, One Piece arcs start with the crew arriving at an island. That's not lazy, that's geography. It is a sea-based world. But Oda's not using the setup as a reset button. He uses it as a delivery system. Each island functions as a puzzle piece, giving you new info, new tech, and new ideologies, and new consequences. Think about it. East Blue was morality 101. Grand Line introduces instability. Skypiea broke physics. Enies Lobby exposed institutional rot. Marineford blew up the political landscape. And Egghead flipped the entire timeline of human progression. People don't complain that Lord of the Rings has too many towns or Star Wars has too many planets. So why act like One Piece isn't allowed to travel? It's not rinse and repeat. It's island hopping through a slowly collapsing world order. If you're bored, you're just not tracking the layers. You can chart One Piece's growth not just through Luffy's bounties, but what he's up against. East Blue, corrupt Marines and small town pirates. Grand Line is warlords, CP9, and ancient weapons. New World is emperors, assassins, cloned armies, techno-fascism, and literal gods. Luffy doesn't just fight tougher enemies, he fights bigger ideas. By Wano, he's not just saving a country, he's challenging the entire world structure, replacing Kaido, toppling Big Mom, and becoming the most dangerous symbol of revolution. And then there's the Joy Boy reveal. Gear 5 wasn't just another transformation, it was a narrative shift. Suddenly, Luffy isn't just strong, he's essential. He's the dream passed down through centuries, through generations of rebels that failed before him. That's not repetition, that's destiny catching up. If you think all the arcs are the same, you're probably just focused on who's throwing hands. But under every arc is a question. What does justice look like and who gets to write history? Is freedom worth the cost? Alabasta is nationalism and the erosion of democracy. Skypiea is religious tyranny and cultural preservation. Dressrosa is authoritarianism and mind control. Fishman Island is generational trauma and racism. And people still say the series is repetitive. One Piece is political, spiritual, and philosophical. It's about power, who has it, who abuses it, and who dares to fight back. Luffy doesn't just fight because it's Tuesday. He fights because someone's freedom is taken away. And if you miss that, you miss the point of the entire story. Oda isn't just writing arcs, he's writing arguments. Let's be honest, people saying that One Piece is repetitive more than likely checked out by Water 7 or Thriller Bark. They missed the point where the world government actually became the antagonist. They missed the Void Century, they missed the Gorosei, they missed Emu. They missed it when it went from pirate shonen to a political apocalypse saga. If you're not caught up, I'm not judging. But don't critique a story that you haven't seen evolve. Because if all you remember is Luffy versus Crocodile, and you haven't read up to Luffy versus Kaido, or Egghead versus 5 literal demons, you're speaking on Act 1, when the rest of us are on the final chapter. You don't get to call it repetitive because you left before the revolution. Here's the truth, One Piece did not overstay its welcome. It grew into what it always meant to be. A story about inherited will, how people in power manipulate truth, about how the smallest people in the world, freaks, pirates, outcasts, can become the spark to burn it all down. That's what you missed. If all you saw was go to an island, fight, and then party, you did not experience One Piece. You skimmed it. Drop your repetitive arcs in the comments. I'll tell you what you missed. And if you're still on the fence about the story, come back to part 2, where we break down One Piece isn't just fantasy. It's sci-fi, spiritual, and post-apocalyptic. It's not just evolving, it's revealing what shonen can actually be. I will see you guys in part 2.